Hey, I'm Spencer, and I wanted to talk briefly today about the drama around the mock library and the inclusion of something called Sponsor Link by the author. Let me tell you about it. Sponsor Link is a creation of the author of mock, and essentially what it does is it takes the email address in your Git config and it hashes it and sends it up to a server to determine whether or not you're a GitHub sponsor. And the goal ultimately was to encourage people in the build errors, no less, to become a sponsor of Mock. So this was, I believe, a well-intentioned but maybe tiny bit clumsy way of trying to help address the idea of open source sustainability. He talks about it in this blog post here, which I'll link below. But the response from the community has been a bit, let's say, overblown. Starting with, of course, YouTubers deciding to create thumbnails that say your data is at risk, which is hyperbole to say the least. And Twitter, of course, is blowing up about privacy, GDPR. Why is it that this thing is showing in my build error? And ironically, people who are consuming a free product are now turning around and going to NSubstitute and asking them, hey, we want you to write us a migration tool, which perfectly sums up my feelings about this scenario. Many people have taken to Twitter to air their grievances, either about the entitlement of the community who's consuming this open source package, or the fact that their privacy has been invaded. And I think that some of the funnier tweets, especially come from Aaron Stannard, who owns a consultancy built around a very popular open source library known as Akka.net. And of course, his tongue-in-cheek response has been to offer to fork the mock library under a different license so that people would start paying for it. Or my personal favorite, requesting that the .NET Foundation fund a Read the Release Notes literacy campaign, as the author of mock did indeed put this in an announcement that he was adding this. Of course, nobody reads those, so of course this controversy blows up and people take to the internet and of course cause all kinds of chaos. And again, the ultimate question and my ultimate interest in this is the question of open source sustainability, because the answer is not going to come from Microsoft and it's not going to come from the .NET Foundation either. Just ask ImageSharp. When ImageSharp was taken and made commercial after being a open source library for so long, Microsoft essentially erased it from existence, at least erased it from the Microsoft docs. Again, I want to reiterate that I believe that the author of mock had the best of intentions with this, and even though it wasn't the most favorite change of the community, it certainly got a conversation started. I really wish, though, that conversation had more to do with how do we support open source and less to do with this author is out to get me and getting out our pitchforks. All right, until next time, Spencer, thanks for listening.